Let me pull up the story here and jump straight to this story we have here and give you guys some optimism. This is from Slow Boring, which is Matthew Iglesias's Substack. He's one of the founders of Vox.com, VOX, lefty. Here's what he tweeted. He said, suppose Democrats get 48% of the vote in 2022 and then rebound to 50% in 2024. Pretty normal. But under today's maps, that means a GOP trifecta with 60 or 61 senators. Yo, I read this today and I was just, it's shocking. I mean, looking right now at the current data based on all the aggregate polls and assuming we don't see changes from now until the election, it looks like Republicans not only will win Congress, but that if this track remains steady, by 2024, they'll have 60 or 61 seats in the Senate, which means they're going to steamroll through basically whatever they want. It's not absolutely perfect because the Republican Party is kind of, maybe if people go and vote in their primaries, this will have a bigger impact. But looking at this, wow.
Can you have an election if there's a famine?
Or if they lock things down again. So let me just throw it to this this here from Timcast real quick to go and add the context. Philadelphia to reinstate mask mandate for indoor public places. Now, I don't want to be as bold as to say that the lockdowns are going to come back hard, because that's what I said last year. At the end of last year, I said, I think they're going to bring all the lockdowns back. Why? They got an election to win. And they're losing right now. And what can they do? Well, they need chaos, right? So I think there's a political play. However, Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change said, no, they're going to ease it up. They've lost this one. It's bad for them. It's hurting them. They're going to have to ease it up. And then in January into February, they started easing up the restrictions, started ending a lot of these mandates. I said, you know what? I guess I was wrong. They really are ending these things. And now people are shouting out Alex Jones, who what he said was they're going to ease the restrictions, get everybody to calm down, and then they're going to slam them back down on us. And then I'll give myself some credit by saying, aha, the rat hope experiment we talked about. You know about that one?
No.
So they put a rat in a vat full of water, several rats, and let them swim. And they couldn't grip on anything. After 15 minutes, the rats give up and they drown. Then they take more rats, put them in the vat full of water, the cylinder, let them swim. Right before they give up, they pick them up and put them down and dry them off. Let them rest, catch their breath, then pick them back up and put them back in the water. The rats then swim for 60 hours because they had hope that if they just didn't give up, they would make it. So based on what Alex said, you know, based on what Luke said, what I said, I'm like, maybe what's going to happen is these restrictions being lifted in the calm down period are so that people can have a sense of hope that it will eventually come to an end. But maybe this next lockdown is the lockdown that just goes on for a long time.
Isn't that the definition of a psyop?
Yeah.
That's the definition of a psyop. You're playing a psyop on that rat. We're just the rats. You know, but I think Americans have woken up to that, and I think it is to such a degree that it's now not Republicans or Democrats, it's just Americans, period. Waking up to it going, these people are playing us in a psyop right now. Listen, anybody that identifies, I've raised a lot of money over the years for Republicans. I've campaigned with Republicans. And in the past 2 or 3 years, I have witnessed, heard, and learned things about so many Republicans that I had supported that blew my mind how much they were betraying the people that they represent. And I've gone out and told people that are hardcore Republicans or whatever, I go, if you're an American, you better not identify with either party. Just be an American.
You see
Vote for what you think's best for your family. That's it. Don't rely on these people anymore, because if I had to guess a percentage, I'm going to say 85% of all politicians are not worth the paper that they signed when they got that office.
Did you see the governor of Utah using his pronouns and saying Latinx?
No, I didn't see that.
And people are like,
Latinx.
Latinx?
Yeah.
This is a Republican, and he's just all on board. I would not be surprised if people don't go out and vote in their primaries, and we end up with just more neocon, establishment, uniparty trash. Give it a year or two, and Mitch McConnell will be like, I'm Mitch McConnell, he, him, and I'm here to give a statement about taxes, and that's it. Unless people actually vote in the primaries and get rid of these establishment party players.
You know, if we don't let them force you to put a mask on your kid, we won't be able to cut taxes 2% for 3 years.
Right. And then you'll have more money for your kids while they're in school being groomed.
I basically stopped voting political parties when I was like 15 or 16. It didn't make any sense anymore. I was like, why don't I just pick the best person? So that's what I do now.
Well, how do you know who's a good person anymore? I mean, here's a question. Who can you believe anymore?
Andrew Yang. That was
Oh
one.
no.
I mean, he wasn't lying.
Yeah, he goes on CNN. He gets a CNN contract after everything.
Oh, maybe he got bought out.
I like the idea of the Ford Party. I donated to them. That's fine. But that guy lost a substantial amount of trust when he went establishment, and then he walked away a little bit after. But no,
He was talking about economics, so he was talking about real. It felt like he was talking about real problems. Sometimes people like Tulsi Gabbard gets to the heart of the issue. I mean, she's a little bit too hawkish on war for me.
You mean
she was
anti-war?
No, actually, I think she's a little too.
What?
I mean, she's in the military. She comes
She's
from the military.
least bad in the Democratic Party on the military issue, but I agree with you. She's not perfect. On warfare.
Wait. She's the one who keeps complaining about Americans entering war. Like that's her whole shtick is, stopping the
Yeah, but
American.
she was also like afraid of terrorists, and I'm like, I don't want a freak in that White House that's talking about terrorism anymore. I'm tired of that.
Yeah,
that psyop.
I mean, Ron Paul talked about mark and reprisal against terror.
Ron Paul was pretty cool.
So I think
there are acts of real terror, but you know the whole 9/11 terrorism thing that got shoved down my throat for 20 years. I'm fed up with.
So someone saying like Ron Paul, you know, we should go after the terrorists and not have these regime change wars, I don't think is a pro-war position.
To me,
you mean Ron Paul or Rand Paul? Because I think Ron Paul's position was we just need to pull out entirely and we shouldn't even have foreign bases.
Ron Paul, yes, but he also talked about how instead of invading Iraq and Afghanistan, we could have issued letters of marque and reprisal.
Oh, okay.
So we could specifically target rogue groups instead of declaring war, and you know we didn't do that.
Trying to build a democracy in Afghanistan, all that ridiculous.
But you know, anyway, to back to the story. I think even, you know, the Democrat view on this is apocalyptic. And so I'm wondering if, one, they'll use lockdowns politically, or they just lie down and Republicans come in and sweep things up.
Yeah, maybe they'll lock down and then lift the lockdowns shortly before the election cycle begins, like 6 months or something. I am so done with these stupid lockdowns. I'm so done with it.